There is a frequency of light that your eyes were never built to see, not because it does not exist, but because the apparatus you were given at birth was calibrated for survival, not for truth. Your retinas catch a sliver of the electromagnetic spectrum, less than 1/10,000,000th of the information pulsing through the space you are sitting in right now. Everything else, the radio waves threading through your walls, the gamma rays arriving from stars that burned out before this planet formed, the microwave background radiation still humming from the first seconds of the universe. All of it passes through you this very moment completely undetected. You are bathed in information you cannot perceive, and you have been told this is normal. You have been told this is all there is. But tonight, something is different, and you already feel it, or you would not be here. There is a pressure behind your forehead, maybe faint, maybe sharp, that has nothing to do with a headache and everything to do with the fact that a part of your neurology is waking up that was never supposed to stay dormant this long. What you are about to hear is not mysticism dressed in scientific clothing. It is the other way around. It is science that has been pointing at something mystical for over a century, and the establishment has been quietly looking the other direction because the implications are too large to fit inside the current model of what a human being is. So let us go there together. Let us talk about what your third eye actually is, what it is made of, what it sees, and why what it is beginning to show you right now was considered so dangerous that entire civilizations encoded warnings about it into their most sacred texts. Start with the organ itself, because it is real. It is not a metaphor. It is not a chakra floating in some ethereal plane. It sits in the geometric center of your brain, a pine cone-shaped gland roughly the size of a grain of rice, and its name is the pineal gland. René Descartes, the philosopher who gave Western thought its obsession with rationality, called it the seat of the soul. That phrase has been quoted so often, it has lost its strangeness, so let it land fresh. The man who built the intellectual framework for modern skepticism, the man who said, "I think, therefore I am," looked at this tiny structure buried deep in the brain and said, "This is where the soul lives." He did not say the heart. He did not say the mind in general. He pointed to one specific gland and said, "Here." What did he see that we have been trained to overlook? The pineal gland contains something that should not be there. It contains photoreceptor cells, the same type of cells that line your retinas, the same cells your eyes use to detect light. They are called pinealocytes, and under electron microscopy, they are structurally almost identical to the rod and cone cells in your eyes. A gland buried in the center of your skull, surrounded by bone, sealed away from any external light source, is equipped with the biological machinery for seeing. This is not fringe science. This was published in the journal Experimental Eye Research. Researchers found that the pineal glands of various vertebrates, and in diminished but still present form in humans, contain proteins associated with phototransduction, the same molecular cascade that converts photons into neural signals in your retinas. The gland also produces its own endogenous light-sensitive molecules. It is, in the most literal neurobiological sense, a vestigial eye. Or perhaps not vestigial at all. Perhaps the word vestigial is just what we call something whose function we have not yet been willing to understand. Now here is where it gets strange enough to matter. The pineal gland is also the primary production site of melatonin, the hormone that governs your circadian rhythm, your sleep-wake cycle, the chemical clock that tells your body when it is night and when it is day. Melatonin synthesis is directly controlled by light exposure, but the pineal gland itself receives no direct light. It gets its light information secondhand, routed through a pathway that runs from the retinas, through the suprachiasmatic nucleus of the hypothalamus, and then to the pineal gland via the superior cervical ganglion. Your pineal gland is a light-sensitive organ that has been placed in total darkness and given an indirect phone line to the outside world. Why would biology do this? Why would evolution, which is ruthlessly efficient, build a light-detecting organ and then seal it inside a skull? Unless what it is designed to detect is not the kind of light that comes from outside. This is the question that changes everything if you let it. In 2013, a team at the University of Michigan, led by Jimo Borjigin, published a study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences that stunned the neuroscience community. They found the brains of rats, at the moment of cardiac arrest, produced a massive surge of highly coherent gamma wave activity, oscillations between 25 and 55 hertz, far more organized and intense than anything observed during normal waking consciousness. The brain, at the moment the body was dying, did not go dark. It lit up. It became more electrically active, more synchronized, more coherent than it had ever been during life. And the region showing the most dramatic surge was the area surrounding the pineal gland. If you've been doing everything right and reality still hasn't shifted, this is the one thing nobody has told you. You meditate, you visualize, you affirm every single morning, and still, somehow, the life you're calling in stays just out of reach. It is not your effort. It is not your mindset. There is something underneath all of it, quietly running the show. I am hosting a free live transmission where I walk you through exactly what that is and how to finally shift it at the root. The link to register is in the description below. Save your seat. The moment you see this, you will understand why you could not see it before. Let that observation sit for a moment without rushing to explain it away. Something in the brain, at the threshold of death, produces a state of heightened coherence that exceeds ordinary waking awareness. And the epicenter of that event is the gland that ancient traditions across every inhabited continent identified as the seat of inner vision. The Egyptians depicted it as the Eye of Horus. The Hindu tradition marks it as the Ajna Chakra, the command center, the place where duality collapses into unified perception. The Taoist alchemical texts call it the Crystal Palace. The Kabbalistic tradition associates it with the Sephira of Binah, understanding that transcends rational analysis. Buddhist iconography places a dot or a flame at the forehead of the awakened one. These are not coincidences born of shared mythology. These are independent observations of the same phenomenon by cultures separated by oceans and millennia who had no contact with one another. They all pointed to the same spot. They all said the same thing. There is a kind of seeing that does not use the eyes. Now you might be thinking this is beautiful but abstract, that it lives in the territory of belief rather than evidence. So let us go deeper into the evidence, because the evidence is where this gets genuinely unsettling for the materialist model. In the early 1990s, Rick Strassman, a clinical psychiatrist at the University of New Mexico, conducted the first FDA-approved research on dimethyltryptamine, commonly known as DMT, in human subjects. DMT is one of the most powerful psychoactive compounds known to science. It is also produced endogenously in the human body. Your body makes it. The question of where it is produced has been debated for decades. But in 2019, a study published in Scientific Reports by Jimo Borjigin's team confirmed that DMT is indeed synthesized in the rat brain, with the necessary enzymes present in neurons of the cerebral cortex, the pineal gland, and the choroid plexus. Your brain contains the molecular machinery to produce one of the most potent visionary compounds ever discovered. And the pineal gland is one of the sites where this production occurs. If this is opening something in you right now, if you can feel these ideas landing somewhere deeper than your intellect, take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so this frequency keeps finding you. Strassman's subjects, when given intravenous DMT in a controlled clinical setting, reported experiences that were remarkably consistent across individuals. They described entering vast geometric spaces, encountering what they perceived as intelligent entities, receiving information that felt more real than waking reality, and experiencing a dissolution of the boundary between self and other. These were not hallucinations in the way that word is typically used. The subjects did not report confused or fragmented perception. They reported hyperclarity. They reported that the experience felt more real than real, as though ordinary waking consciousness was the dimmer state and what they were perceiving under DMT was the signal that had been there all along, previously drowned out by the noise of the default mode network. This is the critical piece. The default mode network, the DMN, is the brain system responsible for your sense of being a separate self. It generates the narrative of me, the running story of who you are, what happened to you, what you need to worry about, what you need to protect. It is the neurological seat of the ego, and during states of deep meditation, during DMT experiences, during the gamma wave surge at the moment of death, the default mode network goes quiet. When the story of you stops being told, something else becomes visible. This is what the ancient traditions meant by the third eye opening. Not a supernatural event, not a reward for spiritual achievement, a neurobiological shift in which the brain's self-referential chatter drops below the threshold of dominance and a different mode of perception, one that was always running in the background, finally becomes the foreground. Think about what this means for your experience right now, tonight, in this moment. If you have been feeling that pressure behind your forehead, if you have been having unusually vivid dreams, if you have been waking at strange hours, particularly between 2 and 4 in the morning, if you have been seeing patterns in your peripheral vision that vanish when you look directly at them, if you have been feeling a strange sense of knowing things before they happen, not dramatically, not like a movie psychic, but in small, quiet ways, a sense of who is calling before you check, a feeling about a room before you walk in, a pull toward or away from something that your rational mind cannot justify. These are not signs that something is wrong with you. These are signs that the filter is thinning. I want to pause here and ask you something. Have you been experiencing any of these signs? The vivid dreams, the strange knowings, the pressure behind the forehead? Tell me in the comments what has been showing up for you, because I think you will find you are not alone in this. Your brain processes approximately 11 million bits of sensory information per second. Your conscious awareness handles roughly 50 out of 11 million. That means your conscious mind is experiencing less than 0.0005% of the information your nervous system is actually receiving. The rest is being filtered out by a system whose job is not to show you reality. Its job is to show you what is relevant to biological survival. The color of a predator, the sound of a threat, the face of a potential mate, the location of food. That is what the filter was built for. It was not built for truth. It was built for staying alive long enough to reproduce. But you are not just a survival machine. You are something that can ask why it exists. You are something that can become aware of its own awareness. You are something that can notice the filter itself. And the moment you notice the filter begins to lose its grip. This is what is happening to you. Not because you performed the right ritual or chanted the right mantra, though those practices can accelerate the process. It is happening because you have reached a point in your own development where the survival program is no longer sufficient to contain what you are becoming. The old operating system is not crashing. It is being outgrown. Let me show you how this works at the level of physics, because the physics is where the forbidden part of this vision lives. In quantum mechanics, there is a principle so disturbing that the physicists who discovered it spent decades trying to explain it away. It is called the measurement problem, and it goes like this. Before a quantum system is observed, it does not exist in a definite state. It exists in what is called a superposition, a mathematical description of all possible states existing simultaneously. The electron is not here or there. It is, in a very precise mathematical sense, here and there and everywhere else it could possibly be, all at once. It is only when a measurement is made, when an observation occurs, that the wave function collapses and the particle appears in one definite location. This has been confirmed by experiment after experiment for nearly 100 years. The double-slit experiment, first performed by Thomas Young in 1801 with light, and later replicated with electrons, protons, and even molecules as large as Buckminster fullerene, demonstrates it with brutal clarity. When particles are fired at a barrier with two slits, and no one observes which slit they pass through, they create an interference pattern on the detector screen, the signature of a wave. They behave as though each particle passes through both slits simultaneously. But the moment a detector is placed at one of the slits to observe which path the particle takes, the interference pattern vanishes. The particles behave as discrete objects, passing through one slit or the other. The act of looking changes what happens. This is not interpretation. This is data, repeated thousands of times in laboratories around the world. The observer is not passive. The observer is participatory. The act of conscious attention alters the behavior of matter at the most fundamental level. John Archibald Wheeler, one of the most respected physicists of the 20th century, the man who coined the term black hole, took this further with his delayed choice experiment. In this setup, the decision about whether to observe which path a photon takes is made after the photon has already passed through the slits, and the result is the same. The photon's behavior, its past behavior, conforms to the observation made in the present, as though the photon knew, retroactively, whether it would be watched. Wheeler concluded that we live in what he called a participatory universe, not a universe that exists independently and is then passively perceived, but a universe that requires observation to manifest in definite form. No phenomenon is a real phenomenon, he wrote, until it is an observed phenomenon. Now bring this back to the third eye. Bring this back to the pineal gland, the light-detecting organ sealed in darkness, the gland that surges with coherent gamma waves at the threshold of death, the gland that produces the enzymes for endogenous DMT, the gland that every ancient tradition identified as the organ of inner sight. What if the pineal gland is not detecting external light? What if it is detecting the light of observation itself? What if the photoreceptor cells in this gland are tuned not to photons arriving from outside the skull, but to the act of conscious attention, the very act that quantum mechanics has shown to be the mechanism by which reality crystallizes from possibility into form? This is the forbidden vision. Not forbidden because someone is hiding it from you. Forbidden because the implications dismantle the foundational assumption of modern civilization, which is that you are a small, separate, powerless observer in a vast mechanical universe that does not care about you and was not made for you. If the observer is participatory, if consciousness is not a byproduct of matter, but the field in which matter arises, then you are not in the universe. You are the process by which the universe becomes real, and that changes what you are allowed to see, because what you see is not separate from what you are. There is a phenomenon in neuroscience called inattentional blindness, and it demonstrates this with devastating precision. In the most famous experiment, conducted by Daniel Simons and Christopher Chabris at Harvard in 1999, subjects were asked to watch a video of people passing a basketball and count the number of passes. During the video, a person in a gorilla suit walks into the center of the frame, beats their chest, and walks out. Fully half the subjects did not see the gorilla, not because it was hidden, not because it was subtle. It walked directly into the center of their visual field, remained there for 9 seconds, and was completely invisible to them, because their attention was directed elsewhere. You do not see what is there. You see what you are looking for. And when your third eye begins to open, what you are looking for changes. The filter recalibrates. The gorilla becomes visible. And not just one gorilla. An entire dimension of experience that was always present, always broadcasting, always right here, becomes perceptible. This is why it can feel overwhelming. This is why it can feel like too much. Because you are not adding new information. You are removing the suppression of information that was already arriving. Your nervous system was already receiving it. Your pineal gland was already responding to it. Your dreams were already processing it. The only thing that was missing was your conscious awareness of it. And now that awareness is arriving, and it is arriving fast. And part of you, the part that was built for the old operating system, the part whose entire identity was constructed inside the filtered version of reality, that part is afraid. That fear is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that the process is real. Let me ask you something. What is the one belief about yourself or about reality that you can feel starting to crack right now? Drop it in the comments. Sometimes naming the thing that is dissolving is what gives you permission to let it go. Let me tell you what this looks like from the inside. Because understanding the mechanism is only half of what is needed. The other half is recognizing the experience as it moves through you. The first thing that changes is time. Not clock time, felt time. You begin to notice gaps in the flow of your experience. Tiny pauses between one moment and the next that you never noticed before. It is as though the film of your life, which always seemed continuous, begins to reveal itself as individual frames with space between them. In those spaces, there is a quality of silence that is not empty. It is full. It is saturated with something that has no name in English, but that the Sanskrit tradition calls Turiya, the fourth state. The awareness that is present during waking, dreaming, and deep sleep, but is not any of those states. It is the screen on which all three are projected. You start catching glimpses of this screen, not through effort, through the relaxation of effort. through moments when you forget to maintain the story of yourself and something else shines through. Brief and unmistakable, like seeing the projector beam in a dark theater for the first time and realizing the movie is not the wall, it is the light. The second thing that changes is your relationship to thought. You begin to notice that thoughts arise before you think them. This sounds paradoxical until you experience it. You are sitting quietly and a thought appears, and for the first time you catch the gap between its appearance and your identification with it. You see it arrive like a bird landing on a branch, and in that seeing, you realize something that restructures your entire understanding of what you are. You are not the thinker. You are the space in which thinking occurs. This is not a philosophical position. It is a perceptual shift, and it corresponds to measurable changes in brain activity. Long-term meditators, studied using functional MRI and EEG, show decreased activation in the default mode network and increased coherence in gamma band oscillations. The same pattern observed in the dying brain. The same pattern associated with pineal gland activation. They are not thinking less. They are identified less with the thinking. And in that decreased identification, a wider field of perception becomes available. The third thing that changes, and this is where it becomes what the traditions called forbidden, is that you begin to perceive the relationship between your inner state and your outer circumstances with a directness that is impossible to ignore. You notice that when you hold a particular emotional frequency, not when you think about it, but when you genuinely embody it, reality begins to reorganize around it. Not metaphorically, literally. Conversations shift. Opportunities appear. People respond differently to you. Obstacles that seemed solid reveal themselves as permeable. And this is not magical thinking. This is the observer effect scaled up from the quantum to the classical. If you are feeling the truth of that, here is something I want to share. Have you spent years chasing manifestation, visualizing, affirming, raising your vibration, only to watch the same patterns repeat? Every traditional method assumes the same thing, that you are separate from what you want. That separation was never real. You were chasing a signal you were already broadcasting. Beyond the frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery walks through all 9 frequencies, from the dense transmissions trapping you through the ascending currents to the master frequencies where consciousness becomes the field. Every method you tried sent a signal outward. This one tunes the signal you already are. Every day you delay, your nervous system broadcasts the same old signal, and breaking free gets harder. So move on it tonight. The link is in the pinned comment below. Now back to the deeper current of the observer effect at work. There is a concept in quantum field theory called the vacuum expectation value. In quantum mechanics, even empty space, the vacuum, is not empty. It seethes with virtual particles popping in and out of existence, a roiling ocean of potential that physicists call the zero-point field. The vacuum expectation value is the average value of a field in its ground state, and it is not zero. Empty space has energy. Empty space has structure. Empty space is not empty. Now consider this. Your consciousness is not separate from this field. Your neurons fire through electrochemical processes that are, at their most fundamental level, quantum mechanical. The microtubules inside your neurons, as proposed by Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff in their orchestrated objective reduction theory, may be sites of quantum computation. Consciousness, in this model, is not produced by the brain the way steam is produced by a kettle. Consciousness is a quantum process that the brain participates in but does not generate. The brain is an antenna, not a transmitter. If this is even partially true, and the Penrose-Hameroff model has been gaining experimental support, with evidence of quantum coherence in warm biological systems published in journals like Nature Physics, then the opening of the third eye is not a mystical event. It is a tuning event. You are not gaining a new ability. You are adjusting the receiver. You are widening the bandwidth. You are allowing the antenna to pick up frequencies it was always capable of receiving, but had been filtered out by the noise of the default mode network, the survival program, the story of the small self. And what comes through when the bandwidth widens is what every tradition described in its own language. The Vedic seers called it Brahman, the undivided wholeness from which all apparent multiplicity arises. The Buddhists called it Sunyata, emptiness that is not void but pregnant with all form. The physicists, when they are being honest, call it the measurement problem, the fact that reality does not fully exist until it is observed, and they do not know what to do with it. You are beginning to know what to do with it, not intellectually, experientially. And that is what makes tonight different. There is a practice I want to guide you through, not because it will create something new, but because it will help you stabilize what is already happening. Think of it as adjusting the focus on a lens that has already been uncapped. Wherever you are right now, allow your eyes to soften. You do not need to close them, though you can if you want to. Just let the muscles around your eyes release. Notice that when you do this, your visual field changes. The center becomes less dominant, and the periphery becomes more alive. This is not imagination. Your peripheral vision is processed by different neural pathways than your central vision. Central vision is high resolution and narrow, designed for focused tasks. Peripheral vision is lower resolution, but far more sensitive to motion, to change, to the gestalt of a scene. It is older, evolutionarily. It is the vision of the prey animal, the vision that sees the whole field at once rather than fixating on one point. Now bring your attention gently to the space between your eyebrows, not with effort, not with strain, just a soft awareness, the way you might notice the warmth of sunlight on your skin without reaching for it. Let your attention rest there, the way a leaf rests on the surface of still water. You are not trying to activate anything. You are allowing yourself to notice what is already active. As you hold this soft attention, become aware of the quality of the darkness behind your closed eyes, or the quality of the space in front of your open ones. Notice that it is not uniform. There are subtle shifts, faint movements, perhaps colors or geometric patterns at the very edge of perception. These are not hallucinations. These are phosphenes and entoptic phenomena, real neural activity in your visual cortex occurring without external stimulation. Your brain is generating visual experience from within. It does this every night when you dream. The only difference is that right now you are conscious while it happens. Stay with this for a few breaths. Do not chase the patterns. Do not try to make them into something. Just observe. Notice what it feels like to see without looking at anything. Notice the quality of awareness itself, the aware space in which these faint visual phenomena arise and dissolve. This is the beginning of what the traditions called inner sight. Not seeing visions, though visions may come. Seeing the seer. Becoming aware of the awareness that is prior to all content. prior to all perception, prior to all thought. The awareness that does not come and go. The awareness that was present before your first memory and will be present when the default mode network falls silent for the last time. Now I want to take you somewhere that most discussions of the third eye never go, because it is uncomfortable and because it explains why this capacity was suppressed, not by a conspiracy, but by the organism itself. The pineal gland calcifies. In most adults, by the time they reach their mid-20s, the pineal gland has accumulated significant deposits of calcium phosphate, visible on X-rays and CT scans as a bright white spot in the center of the brain. Radiologists use it as a landmark. It is that consistent, that reliable, that universal. The calcification rate varies, but it correlates with factors that read like a map of modern life. Fluoride exposure accelerates it. The pineal gland accumulates more fluoride than any other soft tissue in the human body, a finding published by Jennifer Luke at the University of Surrey. Chronic stress accelerates it through sustained cortisol exposure. Sleep disruption accelerates it. Artificial light exposure at night, which suppresses melatonin production and forces the pineal gland into a pattern it was not designed for, accelerates it. Screen exposure, particularly the blue light wavelengths emitted by phones and monitors, is particularly disruptive to pineal function. In other words, the conditions of modern life are almost perfectly designed to calcify the one organ in the brain that ancient traditions universally identified as the seat of higher perception. This is not a conspiracy theory. It does not require a shadowy cabal. It only requires that a civilization organized around productivity, consumption, and external stimulation would naturally create conditions hostile to an organ whose function is inner vision, stillness, and the dissolution of the boundary between self and world. The organism itself participates in this suppression. The default mode network, the ego structure, the survival program, all of these are mechanisms that benefit from a calcified pineal gland. A pineal gland operating at full capacity would flood the system with perceptions that the ego cannot categorize, cannot control, cannot use for self-preservation. It would dissolve the boundary between self and other that the ego depends on for its existence. From the perspective of the survival program, a fully active pineal gland is a threat, so the system downregulates it, not through malice, through the same logic that causes the immune system to attack a transplanted organ. It does not recognize it as self. But you are not just the survival program. You are the awareness in which the survival program runs. And when that awareness begins to recognize itself, the calcification starts to reverse. Not overnight, not dramatically, but measurably. Practices that reduce cortisol, that restore circadian rhythm, that quiet the default mode network. These have been shown to increase melatonin production and, in some studies, to correlate with decreased pineal calcification over time. The practice is not esoteric, it is biological. Darkness, silence, stillness. The absence of artificial stimulation. The presence of sustained, non-directed awareness. These are the conditions under which the pineal gland was designed to function. And when you provide those conditions, it begins to do what it was always built to do. What it was built to do is show you what you are, not what you have been told you are, not the name on your identification, not the story in your default mode network, not the role you play in other people's narratives. what you actually are, underneath all of that, prior to all of that. The thing that was aware before the first word was spoken to you, and that will be aware after the last word fades. This is the forbidden vision. It is forbidden not by any authority, but by the structure of ordinary consciousness itself. The ego cannot look at this and survive, not because it is destroyed violently, but because it is revealed to be what it always was, a useful fiction, a character in a story, a pattern of neural activity that mistook itself for the whole. When the third eye opens, you do not become someone special. You stop pretending to be someone limited. There is a moment in every genuine awakening that the Zen tradition calls the great doubt. It is not intellectual doubt. It is existential doubt. It is the moment when every assumption you have ever made about the nature of reality, about who you are, about what is possible, comes into question simultaneously. Not one belief at a time, the way philosophy works. All of them at once, the way a dream dissolves when you wake up. You do not examine the dream's logic and find it wanting. You simply open your eyes and the entire structure is gone. This is what is beginning to happen to you. And the reason it feels both exhilarating and terrifying is that you are not losing something false and gaining something true in a neat exchange. You are losing the framework within which true and false had meaning. And what is left is not a new framework. It is the open space in which all frameworks arise. The physicist David Bohm, who worked with Einstein and spent the last decades of his life in dialogue with the philosopher Jiddu Krishnamurti, proposed a model of reality he called the implicate order. In Bohm's model, what we perceive as the manifest world, the world of separate objects in space and time, is the explicate order, the unfolded surface of a much deeper reality. Beneath this surface, in the implicate order, everything is enfolded into everything else. There is no separation. There are no discrete objects. There is only an unbroken wholeness in flowing movement, which he called the hollow movement. The third eye, in Bohm's framework, is the faculty that perceives the implicate order directly. It is the mode of consciousness that sees through the explicate surface to the enfolded depth. And what it sees there is not a collection of hidden objects. It is a seamless field of intelligence in which every point contains information about the whole, exactly like a hologram, where every fragment contains the complete image. This is why the visions that come with pineal activation often involve geometric patterns, fractals, recursive structures. These are not random. They are the visual signature of holographic information processing. Your brain, freed from the constraints of the default mode network, is showing you the deep structure of the field it is embedded in, not inventing it, revealing it. And this is why the experience feels more real than real. Because it is. Ordinary waking consciousness is a reduction, a compression, a survival-oriented simplification of an infinitely richer signal. When the filter thins, when the third eye opens, you are not adding a layer of mystical fantasy on top of reality. You are removing a layer of functional blindness that was useful for staying alive on the savannah, but that has become the primary obstacle to knowing what you are. Tonight, the obstacle is thinner than it has ever been. You can feel it. That is why you are here. Not by accident, not by algorithm, by resonance. The part of you that is waking up sought out a frequency that matches its own, the way a tuning fork activates another tuning fork across a room without touching it. Sympathetic resonance. The vibration finds its match. Consider coming back to this video tomorrow morning, letting these words settle into your awareness before the noise of the day begins. And if someone comes to mind as you listen, someone who is feeling the stirring of something they cannot yet name, share this with them. That act of sharing is not passive. It is a form of resonance itself, amplifying the signal for both of you, strengthening the frequency in the field you both inhabit. So let me offer you one more thing before we close this space. Not a practice this time, a recognition. You have spent your life being told what is real, by parents who meant well but were themselves asleep, by schools that trained you to memorize answers to questions you never asked, by a culture that measures your worth in productivity and your success in accumulation, by a medical system that treats your body as a machine and your consciousness as an epiphenomenon, a ghost in the gears, irrelevant to the mechanism, by a scientific establishment that has spent a century avoiding the implications of its own greatest discovery, that the observer and the observed are not separate. You absorbed all of that. You built a self out of it. You learned to see through the filter and forgot there was a filter. And now the filter is dissolving, and what is on the other side is not what you were told it would be. It is not chaos. It is not madness. It is not the void. It is you. The real you. The one that was never born and cannot die. The one that is not inside your body, but that your body is inside of. The one that does not have consciousness, but that is consciousness. Looking out through these particular eyes for a little while, playing this particular role in the vast improvisation of the cosmos, and beginning right now, tonight, to remember what it knew before it agreed to forget. The third eye does not show you something new. It shows you what was always there. And what was always there is so much more than you were told. So much more vast, so much more intelligent, so much more intimate than the mechanical universe you were handed as a child and told to live inside. You do not have to believe any of this. Belief is the wrong faculty entirely. Belief is a function of the default mode network, a cognitive commitment to a proposition. What is being asked of you is not belief. It is attention. Simple, sustained, non-judgmental attention to what is actually happening in your experience right now. The pressure behind your forehead, the strange quality of the silence in the room, the sense that something is watching through your eyes that is older and wider than your name. Pay attention to that. Not with effort, with curiosity, with the same quality of attention you would bring to watching a fire, or listening to rain, or looking at the face of someone you love in sleep. Soft, open, unhurried, not trying to understand, just seeing. That quality of attention is the third eye, not the gland, not the chakra, not the symbol, the attention itself, the awareness that is aware, the seeing that does not depend on the eyes. It has always been open. You are just now learning to notice. Stay with this. Let the night do its work. Something in you is rearranging itself, and it does not need your help. It does not need your understanding. It does not need your permission. It only needs your willingness to stop looking away. You found this for a reason. The reason is not outside you. The reason is you. The you that is not a person, but a process. Not a noun, but a verb. Not a thing in the universe, but the universe becoming aware of itself through one singular, unrepeatable point of view. Your point of view. the one that just opened. If what you heard tonight resonated with something deeper than your thinking mind, if it touched a place that already knew, then stay in this space a little longer. Subscribe to this channel not because you need more information, but because this frequency is a tuning fork, and the more you return to it, the more stable the resonance becomes. Leave a comment, not to perform engagement, but because articulating what moved in you tonight is itself a practice, a way of anchoring the shift in language and making it real in the shared field. And if you know someone who is going through their own awakening, who is feeling the pressure and the strangeness and does not yet have words for it, send this to them. Not as instruction, as recognition, as a way of saying, I see you, and what is happening to you is real. The vision has always been yours. The eye has always been